There is a category of weapon designed to shut down the human nervous system from the inside out. Among military planners, one specific chemical agent represents the most severe operational nightmare: Soman. Look at this official classification. Soman, also known as GD, is a clear, tasteless liquid with a faint camphor-like odor. It is highly toxic, and its physical properties allow it to persist as a liquid hazard for days. German chemist Richard Kuhn first synthesized the compound in 1944. It was a product of the Nazi chemical weapons program, designed to be significantly more potent than previous G-series agents like sarin. While it remained unused during the Second World War, the Cold War saw both the United States and the Soviet Union mass-produce and stockpile Soman. It became a primary concern for coalition forces during the 1991 Gulf War. The terror of Soman isn't found just in its toxicity, but in its speed. It triggers a biochemical reaction that makes it completely incurable almost as soon as exposure to it begins. To see why, we have to look at the nerve synapse. Your nerves use a messenger called acetylcholine to send signals. Normally, an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase clears that messenger away, but Soman prevents this by binding directly to the enzyme. This blockage creates an immediate acetylcholine overload. Muscles, glands, and nerves stay in a state of constant overstimulation, leading to respiratory collapse. Most nerve agents share this mechanism, but Soman has a unique molecular quirk called aging. Once Soman attaches to the enzyme, it loses a specific molecular group in roughly 2 minutes. The bond reaches irreversible resistance, and standard antidotes fail to reactivate the enzyme. Medical science has a 2-minute window to intervene. After that point, the biological damage to the system becomes permanent. This creates a tactical dead end. Since a cure is virtually impossible post-exposure, the military had to find a way to protect the nervous system before the clock even starts. Their solution was pyridostigmine bromide, or PB. It was an existing drug used for chronic muscle weakness, but the military repurposed it as a preemptive chemical shield. PB acts as a reversible inhibitor. By taking it hours before a potential attack, the drug binds to a specific fraction of the body's enzymes, safely hiding them from external threats. When Soman enters the system, it searches for an enzyme to attack. Because the PB is already in place, the Soman cannot form its lethal bond or trigger the aging process. It essentially bounces off the occupied sites. Once the threat has passed and other antidotes clear the free Soman from the blood, the PB naturally releases its hold. This leaves the soldier with a reserve of healthy, functional enzymes. PB effectively denies the Soman its target by temporarily sacrificing a portion of the soldier's own nervous system. On the eve of the 1991 Gulf War, the threat of an Iraqi chemical attack was considered imminent. Coalition forces prepared for a conflict where Soman exposure was a distinct possibility. This led to one of the largest medical mandates in military history. Roughly 250,000 personnel were ordered to take PB pills every 8 hours to maintain a continuous chemical defense. This was a regulatory compromise. This FDA memo shows that the agency granted a waiver of informed consent, authorizing the drug for healthy troops based entirely on animal efficacy studies. Planners knew this carried risks. Because PB inhibits the same enzymes as nerve gas, it intentionally causes low-level symptoms of exposure, such as muscle twitching and gastrointestinal distress. To prevent mass casualties from a 2-minute killer, commanders were forced to mandate an experimental alteration of their own soldiers' neurochemistry. The cost of that mandate arrived quickly. Thousands of troops reported abdominal cramps, urinary urgency, and headaches, as their bodies reacted to the constant presence of the drug. The ground war ended in just 100 hours. The massive chemical casualties never occurred, and at the time, the use of PB was considered a successful precaution. However, the story didn't end with the ceasefire. Years later, thousands of veterans began reporting chronic, debilitating health conditions, memory defects, extreme fatigue, and neurological pain that had no obvious cause. Look at this symptom analysis. Extensive research eventually found a direct link between PB exposure, combined with the intense stress of the battlefield and toxic pesticides, and the condition now known as Gulf War illness. This is the final legacy of Soman. To survive a weapon that can end life in 120 seconds, 250,000 soldiers were given a drug that left many of them with a lifelong struggle.